welcome back to I Don't Know What I'm Doing. This week I'm going to go over basically this painting the spear arm for this Vindicator model. Had fun with the shield, of course. This one was a little bit more fun because it's still drawing together all the different colors and a little bit more of the metallics, especially with doing the gold, a little bit more gold now. And then the spear, of course, having its different levels. Here going over the shield, that's basically it after it's all done. Got that white and then a little bit of the red on top there. You can see I'm pointing to it right there. But of course the camera is terribly focused because I don't know what I'm doing. We'll learn though. So basically I'm going to go over here, do some of my colors, make sure I have the colors I want to do for this arm. We're looking at gold, we're looking at, oh, what do you know, I got some new brushes too, and I got those more fine ones. I think I really enjoyed doing those for a lot of the highlights. I think it's far better than what I was using before. Just a fine tip, it really does a great job getting those highlights. So you'll see me be using this one a lot, just so I can get that top layer of silver. You'll see over all of this, instead of it kind of being a highlight, I kind of used the silver as like scraped metal almost, kind of like damaged edges. Really liked how it turned out. Here I'm just going to go over a little bit of the shield left over, and then really kind of touch up into the arm. This is that wash that I was using that brown for, adding a little bit of water to it, making it look like it is tarnished. But alright, so let's get into it. This is the arm, starting the arm. I want to start off with the blue. That's basically how I'll start off every single one of them. Get the blue going, and then go into the gold. I think this one, I wasn't too happy with the blue. You'll see me kind of mix it again here a little bit later, but finally got it to where it matched the other one. Turned out pretty well. But yeah, the ones we're working with here on color on this is going to be your blue, that blue steel. We're doing the gold again, which I mixed to the gold. I think I mixed the bronze and then the gold itself. Kind of made it a little bit like a truer, deeper gold, which I really like, which helps with the shading too. So just doing the blues here, and then we'll break into the golds, and then getting into the spear, which I had a little bit too much fun with, if you ask me. Finishing up the blues here. I'll bring it closer to the camera so you can get a little bit better look, but hopefully it'll go into focus. There it is, so just a little bit. So it's kind of like a steel blue. I added a little bit of silver to it to dull it out a little bit. Didn't want it to look like it was brand new. I wanted it to be worn a little bit with the sun damage, so that's why I added that silver to it. Wiping off the brush here, I'm going to start with my colors. This and blue and gold complementary colors, right? Such a great contrast within those. So that's why I feel like all these Good note, take note for me when I do more in the future. I've got another project coming up here I'm pretty excited about. Maybe use a different patina and so on. So just going to go over the golds here. That's going to be the top of the shoulder here, the rest of the arm. Some of the accents on the spear, so. Although this is, you know, my second piece really painting, I'm hoping I can get pretty quick at this and also start to do a little bit more airbrushing. I enjoy how kind of time consuming and a little monotonous when it comes to it. Doing these for the first time, kind of focus on your breathing a little bit. You kind of go in there and you're just kind of in the zone, and I kind of liked it a lot. So there'll be a lot more content on these small miniatures. I'd like to just try and get them as super cheap as possible and then just have fun with them, depending on how I get, so we'll see. Just going to finish up the rest of the gold here, front and back, and then we'll kind of move over to the spear. Just finishing up the golds here. Really liked how the gold turned out. It's super gold, so in the future I'll make sure that this is kind of what I use as far as the quote-unquote gold standard. Using the camera too, you can really get to see some of the spots you don't hit on that primer gray, which I really enjoyed kind of using this setup. I'll get a better camera in the future. Like I said, this is just all on my phone, but overall kind of like how I'm able to get in pretty close. So finished up the gold here. I'll basically move over to the spear next, get kind of the gold accents on that, let that kind of arm dry. Let me know. I'm probably not letting the stuff dry fast enough. It dries pretty fast, but you know, I guess I could read the instructions and see what the set time is, but I can move pretty quickly with these as far as the paint that I'm using. So Alright, so basically finished up on all the gold pieces here. You'll see on the close-up, it's kind of got this flare at the top where the blade sits into it. It's pretty cool. I like the contrast between the silver and the gold there. And then here we're basically going to start mixing our silvers for the blade. So I've got a natural steel and an oily steel here. You can kind of see the oily steel has kind of more of a gold tint to it, as if it were oily. Really liked it. Did just basically a normal wash on it, and then hit some of the highlights, and then did the the darker wash on it, a little bit more of an aged look to it. But I felt like the steel looked really well. I'd like to do a little bit more colorful blades in the future. I see a lot of content on Pinterest and other. I watch Mavericks paint a lot when he does these, and they're phenomenal. And I love how there's different contrast in the blades, the different colors and whatnot. So definitely want to do some of those in the future. But this is just me going over all the silver accents too. So it'll be the blade, it'll be the part underneath. You can see me painting right here. It's got some spikes, and then I'll do some of the highlights too. Alright, just touching up on some of the inside gold pieces here. Letting that kind of sit and then kind of showing you. Hopefully it brings into focus, but if not, makes sense. There we go. So you can kind of see the gold there. Kind of mixes in with the primer. Kind of looks like you don't know what you're hitting. But I think, at least on where it is now, you can see definitely, of course, there's the silver metallic to it. Kind of darkens up a little bit once I do the wash to it, so I thought it looked pretty well. And then, of course, the studded piece underneath, the gilded gold part underneath the blade, definitely worked out pretty well. So this, I'm going to do some of those highlights, do a little bit of that silver and that white, dulls the white out a little bit, and keep some of the metallic silver in it, so it's more of like a pearl white. I used to actually do a bunch of car paint, and white and metallics don't mix, but at least you can use it for a different use. So like this one, of course, I'm using it for highlights. There's probably a better I could use. You can see here I'm going to start mixing a little bit more gold, and then go over, some of the highlights from there. See what I can do, but I start to get a little bit meticulous on what kind of highlights I want to do for the gold. This is me kind of sitting here going like, what do I want to do? And I think I settled on this one, and it worked out pretty well. So yeah, you can see here I've been doing that internal ornamental piece in the center of the shoulder there with that more of a dull bronze gold. That's kind of almost identical to the one that's in the shield itself. Just kind of wanted to keep the continuity there. And I really do kind of like that color of the dull gold, but you'll see I'll pull it up to the camera here so you can get a better picture. Yeah, let's take a look. You can see it's a little bit different gold with the duller in the center. Kind of like it a little bit more than kind of keeping it that gold. But we'll basically move on to the leather on the staff portion of this spear. I actually got a leather brown, and then I kind of wanted to darken it just a little bit. I talked with a buddy about what I wanted to do with like highlights on this as well. It's something I'm going to work on, but I think it just turned out well the way it was here. Maybe sanding it so we can kind of bring out a little bit of the lighter side of that. But of course it's so small and minimal, that's me getting a little meticulous. I think it turned out pretty well for what it was. The color I got wasn't too red, so that's pretty good, but I at least wanted a little bit more of a maybe a mahogany undertone for it. Alright, so finishing up on that bottom portion, we've got that brown there, with that brown leather straps on it. It looks really well. And then we'll basically, I went in here, you can see I'm just kind of covering it up with the brown. Maybe there was a brown underlayer, right? Kind of like the leather keeps all the armor pieces together. I felt like that was kind of the direction I was going with that, although you'll never really see it. It's so small. Didn't want to leave at least too much gray that you can see. So I'm just going to touch up that top part there, which is the rest up until that silver studded piece. And I'll probably go over some more highlights here. finishing up there. Got it all pretty much all colored. And then we can kind of go over with our wash here. Was adding to this to see what we could do, if I could salvage any of it. Pretty gooey, so we definitely don't want that, but went in and did at least the jeweled pieces. So that would be on the spear, there's a little bit on the shoulder, and then the shield portion. So those were really the only redder pieces, more of an earth tone clay. Didn't want it to be too bright red, but and this is me basically just using the existing paint I had, adding a little bit more darker to it to create that wash, and then of course the water. I want to actually start working with pre-mixed washes, see how well they work, but I'm pretty happy with the way this wash works out. And I'm thinking maybe of doing like a dark brown and that red to get more of a rust tone. That'll be on one of the next projects, but finishing up the washes here, went over it with, of course, that larger brush. In some portions used a smaller brush to kind of soak up whatever, but it definitely gave it more of a dirtier look. Loved it. Got also a little bit more on that top blade portion, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you'll see me on some later pieces here, really kind of finely going through with some washes so I could really articulate in certain areas where I wanted it. Although that's more painting and not what a wash is, but I thought it worked out pretty well. So. Just gonna finish up some touch-up work here. Cutouts a lot of it because it was not so fun to watch, but just going over some pieces here, coloring in some more blues, some stuff that got some over paint on it, going through and just make. That basically sums it up today for the arm spear and then the shield portions that I touched up. But overall, I was really satisfied with how this one turned out. You can see there kind of some of the accent silver that I said I liked. The next one we're going to do is, of course, the smaller side, which is the shield arm. That one's got that lightning bolt accent there. This one I actually really enjoyed because I got to use the browns for the first time. Really worked out really well, and excited for the rest. So appreciate it. Going over some of the colors here. Really like that blue there, but appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.